When car enthusiasts argue about the greatest BMW ever built, one name keeps coming up again and again: the E46 M3. Not just because it's fast, not just because it's beautiful, but because it represents a rare moment in automotive history where everything came together: performance, design, engineering, soul, in one machine that still defines the perfect balance between raw emotion and German precision. Built between 2000 and 2006, the E46 M3 wasn't just another version of a beloved sports coupe. It was the gold standard, the sweet spot between the analog purity of the past and the technological future we didn't yet know was coming. Before turbochargers became the norm, before steering feel became a digital illusion, before every performance car needed to prove itself with lap times and launch control, the E46 M3 was different. It didn't care about breaking records. It cared about how it made you feel behind the wheel. And for that reason, it has become more than just a car. It's a benchmark, a cultural icon, a legend, not just for BMW fans, but for petrol heads around the world. To understand why the E46 M3 became what it is today, we need to go back to the late 1990s. BMW had just come off the E36 M3, a great car, no doubt, but one that was often criticized by purists for being too refined, too comfortable, and maybe just a bit too soft compared to the raw, boxy E30 that started it all. BMW knew they needed to strike a better balance, something that could offer precision on the track and passion on the road. So they threw everything into developing the E46 M3. And it started under the hood. The S54 engine was a naturally aspirated 3.2-liter inline-six with 343 horsepower in European models and 333 in the US. But numbers only tell part of the story. This engine was a high-revving, motorsport-inspired beast. It screamed all the way to 8,000 RPM, delivered razor-sharp throttle response, and had individual throttle bodies for each cylinder, something usually reserved for race cars. It wasn't just an engine, it was a mechanical masterpiece that felt alive. But BMW didn't stop there. The E46 M3 was built on the already well-balanced 3 Series chassis, but with major upgrades: stiffer suspension, wider track, reinforced subframes, and lightweight aluminum components in the front end to keep weight distribution near perfect. The result? A car that handled with surgical precision, but still rode well enough to be your daily driver. And then there was the design. Timeless. The bulging hood hinted at power. The flared fenders gave it a muscular stance. The iconic quad exhaust tips let everyone know you weren't driving a regular 3 Series. It was aggressive but never overdone. Elegant but still mean. But all the numbers, all the engineering, none of it would matter if the car didn't feel incredible to drive. And that's where the E46 M3 separates itself from the crowd. From the moment you sit in the driver's seat, the car speaks to you. The seating position is perfect. The steering wheel, thick, leather-wrapped, and simple, connects you to the road in a way that's almost spiritual. Turn the key, and the S54 comes alive with a metallic rasp that gets better the more you push it. There's no artificial sound being piped in, no fake engine notes, just the honest music of a high-performance straight-six doing its thing. And then you drive it. The steering? Hydraulic, not electric. That means real feel, real feedback. Every crack in the pavement, every change in road texture, you feel it. But not in a bad way, in a way that gives you confidence. The balance? Perfect. Front engine, rear wheel drive, near 50-50 weight distribution. Whether you're clipping apexes or sliding through a corner, the car feels like an extension of your body. And the transmission? Most came with a 6-speed manual, which enthusiasts loved. It wasn't the fastest gearbox in the world, but it was precise, engaging, and deeply satisfying. The SMG automatic option was more controversial, we'll talk about that later, but the manual is what really made the E46 come alive. Even today, over 2 decades later, people still say the E46 M3 is one of the most rewarding driving experiences you can get, regardless of price. It's not the fastest, it doesn't have the most horsepower, but in terms of how it makes you feel, few cars come close. The E46 M3 wasn't built to be a numbers car, it was built to be the ultimate driving machine, and that meant engineering a level of balance few manufacturers ever get right. Start with the chassis. The base 3 Series platform was already excellent, but BMW M engineers took it to another level. The M3 got a completely reworked suspension system, stiffer springs and dampers, thicker anti-roll bars, upgraded bushings, and a limited slip differential that helped deliver power with surgical precision. Weight was kept in check at around 1,500 kilos. That's roughly 3,400 pounds, and distribution was nearly perfect front to rear. And then there's the steering. No fancy electric rack here. It's an old-school hydraulic setup, which means actual road feel. Remember that? The kind that lets you know exactly what the front wheels are doing, without second-guessing or software filters. It's a kind of confidence that modern cars with their digital inputs just can't replicate. Brakes? Solid, reliable, and more than capable of repeated hard use, although hardcore track rats often upgraded them later on. But for most drivers, the factory setup was more than enough. Then there's the structure. The M3 used a mix of high-strength steel and aluminum in the front suspension and hood to help reduce weight. The engineers knew where to shave grams and where to add strength. The result? A car that didn't just handle well, and it felt alive through every corner. You don't earn the name M3 without a motorsport pedigree, and the E46 earned its stripes the hard way, on racetracks all over the world. From the very beginning, BMW intended the M3 to be a car that could dominate on the street and on the circuit. And dominate it did. The E46 M3 became a staple in touring car racing, GT series, and even grassroots motorsport. Its balanced chassis and high-revving S54 engine made it a perfect base for racing teams. But there's one version that stands out above the rest, the legendary M3 CSL. Built in limited numbers in 2003, the CSL, short for Coupe Sport Leichtbau, or Coupe Sport Lightweight, was BMW's way of showing what the M3 could do without compromise. It had a carbon fiber roof, thinner glass, less sound insulation, and even no radio or air conditioning unless you begged for it. The result? A car that was 110 kilograms lighter and sharper in every measurable way. It also featured a retuned version of the S54 engine, revised SMG2 transmission software, and a reworked intake system with a carbon airbox that created one of the most intoxicating engine sounds ever made. The CSL wasn't just fast, it was surgical. It lapped the Nürburgring in under 8 minutes, unheard of at the time for a road car. And today, it's a crown jewel in the M division's history. Even the regular E46 M3 benefited from that motorsport DNA, not just in the way it drove, but in the way it felt like it belonged on the racetrack, even in rush hour traffic. Now, let's be honest, as much as we love the E46 M3, it wasn't without its issues. First, and most famously, the SMG transmission. The sequential manual gearbox sounded amazing on paper. It was basically a manual gearbox with an electro-hydraulic actuator that lets you shift without a clutch pedal. In practice, it was clunky, jerky, and unreliable at low speeds. Perfect for track days, but frustrating in daily driving. Many owners eventually swapped theirs out for true 6-speed manuals, a costly but rewarding upgrade. Then there's the rear subframe issue. Yep, a weak point in the chassis where the rear subframe could actually tear out over time. BMW eventually issued reinforcements, and today, it's one of the first things E46 buyers check when shopping for a used M3. If it hasn't been reinforced, walk away or budget for a fix. Another common issue was with the Vanos system, BMW's variable valve timing, which was known to fail and cause serious engine trouble. And while the rod bearings weren't as notorious as in the later V8 M3s, they still made some owners nervous at higher mileage. But here's the thing, the engine itself, the S54, remains one of the most durable and characterful power plants BMW ever built, especially when properly maintained. In fact, compared to many modern turbocharged engines full of plastic and sensors, the S54 feels almost bulletproof. And that's where the E46 M3 redeems itself. Yes, it had flaws, but they were forgivable flaws, the kind you deal with because the driving experience was just that good. It's been over 2 decades since the E46 M3 first hit the streets, and yet it feels like the car never left the spotlight. Car meets, online forums, YouTube channels. The E46 is everywhere. Enthusiasts speak about it with a kind of reverence, usually reserved for supercars. Owners treat them like fine watches, polishing them obsessively, keeping mileage low and swapping stories like proud parents. And why wouldn't they? The E46 M3 strikes this rare balance between daily drivability and weekend insanity. It doesn't overwhelm you with horsepower or technology. It simply connects you. To the car, to the road, to the moment. This isn't just nostalgia talking. The E46 M3 still holds up, not just emotionally, but mechanically. It's one of those rare cars that actually feels better the more you drive it. It's become a cult classic, not just because of what it was, but because of what it still is today. Here's where things get interesting. For years, you could snag a clean E46 M3 for under $20,000, but not anymore. Today, prices are climbing fast, and for good reason. The E46 M3 is now firmly in modern classic territory. A well-maintained manual coupe, easily $35,000 or more. A low-mileage example with service history and no rust. You're looking at 40 to 60 grand minimum. And the CSL? Forget about it. You're entering 6-figure territory, if you can even find one. Even convertibles and SMG-equipped cars, once seen as the cheap way into M3 ownership, are creeping up in value. Why the sudden boom? Simple. Analog cars are disappearing. The market has woken up to the fact that the E46 M3 might be one of the last truly driver-focused performance cars. With no hybrid systems, no turbos, no screens dominating the dash. Just pure mechanical joy. So whether you're a collector, a track day junkie, or someone who just wants a car with soul, the E46 M3 is no longer a bargain. It's an investment. So why is the E46 M3 still king? Because it represents something rare? A moment in time when BMW nailed it. The styling was just right, the engine sang to the red line, the chassis was alive, and the driving experience? Pure magic. Yes, it had its quirks. The SMG was polarizing, the maintenance wasn't cheap, but none of that stopped it from becoming the benchmark for sports coupes, then and now. In a world that's shifting toward automation, electrification, and digital everything, the E46 M3 stands as a symbol of what driving used to be and what it should feel like. It's not just the greatest M3 ever built, it's the one that made us fall in love with M cars in the first place. If you enjoyed this dive into BMW's greatest M3, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the world of iconic machines. Got your own E46 memory or dream spec? Drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.